There we go.
And
we also have when a new
people alive there swapping to walk down the stairs. Honest to
we're
God.
also in a new location, but
We're not in a new location.
no, we are in a new location from last time.
This is what I'm putting up with.
What is we're in a different location, but the wires are still there.
Right, Jamie.
We are now live, Jamie.
I
so
know,
that's
Jamie, we are now live.
And he was asking, "Are we live?" No.
Yeah, the thing doing things monkeys shouldn't do in the house. But yeah, I need to be here because they need to get their asses moving. So I'm just here overseeing this as well now.
And is that the bedroom? Is that the room behind you? That's where you've been sleeping before?
That's where we've been. That was the Willy Wonka room. Hold on. Wait, see.
And what's that going to be?
Now it's going to be the front room. So this is
what's the other room?
Kitchen. This is the kitchen and diner, like living area, and then that's going to be like, you know, like if you're like just a nice front room, more like the adult room.
Yes.
So that's what that's going to be.
I think is it all connected, open plan, or is it?
There's going to be
doors.
Doors. There's glass doors going on.
I was going to say yeah, because otherwise you're going to have the noise of all of the. Well, I was going to say the kids playing games, but they won't because they've got a games room as well, haven't they? They're downstairs in the games room.
But yeah, it's starting to like the flooring's down now, so it's starting to go back to the floor.
It looks amazing.
And a bed in it.
And a bed.
We're living in chaos, but it's slowly starting to come together now. So I'm working from home, working from the office, but when I'm here, they've got to foot up their ass more. So,
how are you finding the offices now? Are you still?
I don't know. I'm not 100%. I don't know.
You're still 50 on the. I know we're going to talk about that on another episode, but every time I speak to you, you yo-yo between yes, no, yes, no.
I mean, like last week, I went in and I got there I didn't have the kids, so I went there about 8 and I didn't leave till 7. Honestly, I felt so productive, you know, like when I left out, everything I got done. Like it definitely is a good place because this is chaos. Like even when I'm working here, my brain's not 100% on it because I'm doing other stuff. So the office is amazing for being focused, but I also love that, you know, the kids go to school and I can just get straight to work, or the kids come home from school and I'm here. Like Alba makes comments when I'm not here when she gets home from school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm a bit.
But you're going to build an office at home, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm torn between whether I just make it into a big office for everyone,
or just you,
or just me, just so I can work from home if I want to. But I'll see. We'll save that for another episode.
We'll save that. Yeah, it's in here anyway. As I want to talk about in a couple of weeks. So today we're going to be talking about processes, which actually we've been chatting about for like an hour before we even recorded this. So yeah, let's just dive straight into that. You dive in wherever you want to go with this, and I'll kind of guide us along. But like, I
suppose I just want to be honest and open about it. My processes in terms of, I've probably struggled to realise that I haven't got a lot of what I do down on paper. So in terms of obviously growing a business and not just being me, so the amount of business I do on my own, like, yeah, I do it. I'm responsible for what I do and I'm aware of what I'm doing. When you start getting staff in and you're growing a team and you've got processes and things that need to be followed, making sure that's absolutely watertight and concrete for someone else to use, it's proven to me the last couple of weeks I haven't got that. So like, and you don't even realise it. And loads of other people, I'm sure, because I've spoken to other people who were in the same position and they agree. It's like a process is anything that you do or that you've told your staff to do. Now, if you imagine, I was talking to Jordan, me and Jordan were talking about it last week. If you imagine if I got in a new member of staff, unless I sit and go through that with them every single bit and I'm there constantly all the time, 24/7, being the person that they speak to and go to, they're not going to know what they're doing because I haven't actually got it. As in, you basically need like a handbook, don't you? Ideally, you'd have a process where you can say, right, everything like when you would post social media, that in itself is a chapter of a handbook. When to post social media.
Yeah.
how to structure social media, how to deal with a clawback, when to get back to clients, what turnaround time, what you would, how often you go to providers when you do your CPD, and you don't realise. And any wonder that my head's absolutely battered all the time and my brain doesn't switch off, because when you start thinking about it, like, Jesus, that's just all stored in my brain. And it's just, if someone asks me a question, like say the clawback, for example, because we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. If I get a clawback, so say my commission statement comes through and I get a clawback, and for anyone who doesn't know what a clawback is, it means when a policy has been cancelled. So say it's someone else's. If I get a clawback in, I automatically copy and paste that to whichever advisor it is. They get sent an email. I then contact them directly and say, you've had a clawback, you need to contact the client. Like, I know in my brain that I deal with that straight away. It's not something that gets set to one side and dealt with by someone else, because I know how important it is, so I do it. Now, one very good thing about the way I do stuff is it's very instant. Everything I do is instant. Downside of that is, how does anyone else know what? Not everyone else is like me. So, like, say I wasn't here, or say I was poorly, or touch wood, anything went wrong. I need to be where someone can pick it up and go, right, there we go, that's what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the need to have a structure. And right now, the structure of the business is in my brain, and that really, in reality, isn't good enough. The business being in my brain and me being the person who is in charge of everything isn't what you want. If you want to grow a business, you want to scale up, you need to have everything put down. You need to have a process. You need to have procedures. You need to have handbooks. What's the, like almost like a job, how you do your job. Like Millie would have a handbook. So if we get a new member of admin, there you go, that's the handbook, and that's what you would do. Any questions, any issues, you can look at that. Same with advisors, same with mortgages, same with anything to do with compliance. There's so many things that need protocols and procedures that I haven't got down. It's just all in my head, which is ridiculous, really, in terms of scaling up business. It's not really realistic.
No, it's a hard one as well, because if it's, I think, like me and you've spoken about process many times before, but it's what separates being successful to not, if you're trying to scale it. It's very, very difficult. Me and you were chatting about this off air. How you're not naturally somebody who likes to write this stuff down. So how do you think you're going to cope with that?
Hopefully, I'm actually thinking someone who's listening might be able to help me. Please, because the big thing, like, the way I learn is by talking and doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you send me documents, even though I get it, like, I'm not saying I'm dyslexic or anything, or I can't process.
I'm dyslexic.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's off, Ash. Don't try and make me look bad.
No, try to make me look bad. You were just being disrespectful. No, I'm joking. I am joking. Calm down.
That's it now. Now I'm going to have a massive, there's going to be a big debate now on LinkedIn about that. But it's true. Like, I'm not saying, what I'm saying is I'm not saying I can't do it.
Yes, I know what you mean. It's just not what you naturally enjoy doing.
I don't enjoy, and I don't work that way either. It doesn't sit in my head right. So I need to do it. So for me, I have to get everything out of my brain onto a piece of paper, which is probably going to be about 800 pages long. Is hell on earth. As me and you were saying this, I interviewed someone recently, and they were saying that they had built their business from like 2 people to 50 people purely by process. It is something that is needed. It's like the number one, but it's one of those things, it's needed, but it is just really painful to get it started. That's for sure. Yeah, so how do you start it? Like, how do you put it? Obviously, I know how you make a handbook or how you do. I think that's good. I wonder if anyone else has got stuff like that. I'd be interested to know, because if you imagine if every single staff member has how to do or how they do things, it would be amazing to say, like, really, that's their their Bible, isn't it? This is how you do your job. Obviously, I'm not saying it stops.
We had it.
Manager.
When that was what my dad did when he was at Connells. That was his whole thing, and I can't remember what it was called. There was two different. There was an insurance one and a mortgage one, and they were on the intranet, and people who are watching this who are from Connells, they'll know what it's called. I can't remember what it's called, but it was like that you could go, and it was hundreds of pages, but you would go, and he would be the guy who wrote a lot of it at the beginning, and you'd literally be like, okay, I'm doing this thing, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what our process is. And then you would search it and it would come up and then you go, oh, it's that. That's exactly
like
how
an
you...
index, like a glossary.
Yeah. And it would be everything. So it'd be like, if you are applying for, an IP policy, then our compliance says you need to do this. All that noises of this work in the background. Love it. But that's what would happen. She's now shouting at the people who are doing their work, saying, wait 5 minutes. So the people know what we're doing. Back in now.
I've just had to shout, give me 5 minutes. No fine while I'm on live. But yeah, and that's what I need. I need something. Actually, it might be good I wonder if you can get one that's electrical as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, you'll be able to do. So you'll be able to do one that's like the one that I've been working. Me and you chatting about this off air. I've been working on one myself for my stuff, and how I've done mine is on Canva. But I'm done on a PDF, so it's like a slideshow. So it's just loads of slides and images and photos and pictures, and then writing as well. And with AI now, it's really easy to do, because what I do is I'll explain it in my like layman's way, and then I put it into AI and say, can you write it in a better way? And then it'll write it in a much nicer way. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And one thing that I've done for the process that's helped, people listen to this, if you're thinking about doing it, it's helping me right now, is I wrote down the basic process. And then what I also now do is every time I do something new, so like when I do a podcast, or if I talk to you about something, it's a good idea, then I make a note of it, and then I go in and I add it to the thing. So I have a section that's called other, which is, they're not been sorted yet, but the slides are made. And then once that's done, I'm like, okay, where would that fit? That might fit into the marketing phase, or it might fit into the sales phase, or it might fit into the fees phase, or like, like the growth phase. And that's really helped. And I said, mine's come to about just short of 900 pages. But it didn't. It started off as like I think about 50 pages of the core thing. And then it's over the time. It's like, because the thing is, we're saying it every day. So like, as you just said, me and you talking about this off air, there's things that people listen to. You're like, okay, when a clawback happens, like you'd said, like when a clawback happens, we do this, 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 and this. But if you don't write it down, then you don't know. And and so like when you do that, I just go, oh yeah, I did do that. Cool. We're done. And then all of a sudden that's now logged in the process. And then you can, over time, then it's easier to take that 900 pages. The goal with that 900 pages would be, and it would be the same for everybody. Then you just take the 900 and you just cut it down to 50 that really matter. So you have like a new one, which is like, okay, when you're a new starter, this is what you need to know. And these 50 things.
You're also like, you're almost building a training academy up as well, aren't you?
You are, yeah.
It's a lot of time. That's what I've found.
It's a year worth of work, really. Like I've noticed that. Like I thought I'd be able to probably you're the same as me. I was like, I'm going to do this process, do it in a week.
Yeah,
and then I was like, no, it's a year.
I think in reality, that's why I haven't been able to do anything like that. I've got obviously the new staff at the end of last year. Yeah. Then obviously this has happened with the house, and I can't afford to not take time off work. So once the house is finished, then I'll pull back and do all those things, because it definitely will need at least a month's worth of work. It will
impact as well. I'm taking a photo. It will impact your time on work as well, because it always does at the beginning. It's one of those things of like I noticed myself, I did it like, and I'm still in it right now, to be honest. We're talking about it. Like I decided for me that instead of growing the business for the next, till this year. So we're like, June in 2024, that's when I'll look at growing it once the foundations of like all of this stuff is in place. So it's like automated email sequences, and they're all pulling from the same thing. And I realized that like, I've got to be prepared to lose a bit of money, or lose a bit of clout, or lose a bit of growth, to take 2-3 steps back to leap forwards. And I think that we all have those stages. And I think it's tough when you're in, and I think that's where you are now as well. It's tough when that's like a business phase that's new for people like me and you, which is, it's always just been growth, rapid growth, prove a point, get there.
It's hard to stop doing things a million miles an hour. Like to like say, I'm not going to do anything else, I'm just going to do this. Like I really hate doing that. I like being busy, but I'm not going to be able to grow in terms of staff if I don't get all this down, because me having it all in my head's not realistic in terms of growth plan. No,
not at all. So what parting words do you have for this episode then? What would you like to say?
If anyone has anything, or anything they think might assist, please get in touch, because I would
There
really
should be
appreciate
loads of people. There should be loads of you. So if you listen to this or watching this, there should be loads of you who've done a lot of this already. I know a few people.
any ideas and stuff. At the end of the day, it's not something that I'm good at. I'm good at thinking of it and doing it. I'm not good at putting it down. So I need help with that. So if anyone knows anything that could be useful, please let me know.
I love it.